All right, welcome to The Explainer. The DEA just dropped its huge new report on the drug crisis in America. And to really get what we're up against today, the report takes us way back. It all starts with a murder that happened 40 years ago. Yeah, the whole thing is framed through this one agent's story, this incredible 40-year pursuit of justice. It really sets the stage for everything else. So you might be asking yourself, how does a murder from the 80s have anything to do with the fentanyl crisis we're seeing right now? Well, the DEA's point is you absolutely can't understand one without the other. They are directly connected. And this is the man at the heart of that story, Special Agent Enrique or Kiki Camarena. I mean, this guy was the real deal. A Marine, a firefighter, a police officer before he ever joined the DEA. Just a husband and a father who really dedicated his whole life to service. But in 1985, while he was on assignment in Guadalajara, Mexico, he was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered by the cartel. His death? It wasn't just a tragedy, it sparked this massive response called Operation Leyenda, and to this day, it's still the biggest homicide investigation the DEA has ever run. And now think about this. After 40 long years, that pursuit for justice finally hit a major turning point. Just this year, the man who ordered Kiki's murder, cartel kingpin Rafael Caro Quintero, was finally expelled to the U.S. to face justice. This single event is the bookend that frames this entire new report. Okay, so Kiki's story gives us that critical box story. But the DEA's new assessment, it makes one thing crystal clear. The drug landscape we're dealing with today it's a completely different beast. It's way more dangerous, and it's all about synthetics now. And the human cost, it's just staggering. Let this number sink in. 84,076. That's how many Americans we lost to drug overdoses in the last 12-month period they have data for. And the main culprit, the single biggest driver of those deaths, illicit fentanyl. Now that number is absolutely devastating. But here's something I did not expect to see in this report. A glimmer of good news. For the first time in years, those numbers are actually falling. That drop represents the biggest 12-month reduction in overdose deaths ever recorded. So it's a potentially hopeful sign, right? But, and this is a huge but, any progress is incredibly fragile. Because the real danger here is deception. Fentanyl is being pressed into these fake pills that look identical to real prescription meds. And get this, DEA lab testing found that 5 out of every 10 of those fake pills, 5 out of 10, contain a dose of fentanyl that could kill you. It's terrifying. So the big question is, who's pumping this stuff out? Well, the DEA report doesn't mince words at all. It points the finger directly at 2 huge global criminal organizations, what they call TCOs, and names them as the architects of this whole crisis. And those 2 primary threats are the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel, also known as CJNG. According to the DEA, these 2 groups are responsible for nearly all of the synthetic drugs flooding into the U.S. Just look at these maps from the report. They really give you a sense of the sheer scale of their control. You can see how their areas of operation just blanket Mexico. That's the home base, the massive infrastructure they use to run their global drug networks. And we're talking about global operations here. Both of them have a presence in at least 40 different countries. But they run things a bit differently. The Sinaloa cartel is more like this decentralized web. CJNG, on the other hand, is known for being incredibly ruthless and using this almost franchise-like command structure. But at the end of the day, their business model is chillingly, frighteningly similar. Let's break down that business model. It's basically a deadly, super efficient global supply chain. Step 1, they get the precursor chemicals they need, mostly from China. Step 2, they cook up fentanyl and meth in hidden labs in Mexico. Step 3, they smuggle the finished drugs across the border into the U.S. And finally, Step 4, they use local gangs and dealers, who are now all over social media, to push their poison right into our neighborhoods. So how in the world do you fight a global network like that? Well, it takes a massive, multifaceted response, and the report gets into how law enforcement is having to completely change its strategy to keep up. And a huge piece of this new strategy comes down to a really powerful legal tool. It's called the Foreign Terrorist Organization Designation, or FTO. And believe me, this is a total game changer. And guess what? Just this February, the U.S. State Department went ahead and did it. They designated these 6 cartels, including Sinaloa and CJNG, as FTOs. This completely reframes the problem. We're not just talking about a law enforcement issue anymore. This means they are officially considered a national security threat to the United States. That's a huge deal. The report is actually dedicated to Kiki Camarena, and it includes this quote: "No matter how long it takes, justice will find you." I mean, that's not just a nice sentiment, right? That's a mission statement. It's a direct message to every cartel leader out there. And that really brings this whole story full circle, doesn't it? Getting Kiki's killer wasn't some standalone win. It was actually the centerpiece of this huge joint operation that took down 29 wanted cartel leaders and members and brought them to the U.S. It's sending a very clear signal of a new, aggressive strategy to take apart the very same organizations that Kiki died fighting. So at the end of the day, the report leaves you with this one big question to chew on. The threat has obviously evolved, right? We've gone from plant-based drugs to these deadly synthetic chemicals. But has the fundamental nature of the fight really changed? From Kiki Camara's battle 40 years ago to slapping these groups with terrorist designations today, the core challenge is exactly the same. How do you dismantle these complex, violent, and unbelievably adaptable global networks?